Every morning, like clockwork, I'd walk into my office at exactly 7 a.m. The desk was always spotless, papers neatly stacked, trash bins emptied, and a fresh cup of coffee waiting. It felt like magic, everything perfectly in place before the day even began. But I never stopped to think about who made it happen. I was too busy climbing the corporate ladder, too focused on meetings and deadlines. Occasionally, I'd catch a brief glimpse of someone, an older woman in a faded blue uniform slipping quietly out the door just as I walked in. I assumed she was the cleaning staff, nothing more. I never asked her name. I never thanked her. She was just a part of the background, like the humming of the air conditioning or the sound of distant printers. 10 years went by like that. I moved from assistant to manager to director. My name was on the office door. I gave speeches, made deals, shook hands with important people. But somehow, even in all that noise, there was a stillness I could never explain. It came from her. Though I never saw her face clearly, I began to notice her touch in everything, how she aligned the photo of my childhood on the desk just so, how she left tissues beside my keyboard when I had a cold. She was invisible in presence, yet deeply present in everything around me. I didn't know it yet, but the person I ignored for a decade was the one who had always seen me. One evening, I stayed later than usual, buried in reports and deadlines. The office was quiet, lights dimmed, most people gone. That's when I heard the soft rustle of a mop and the gentle clink of a bucket. I looked up, and for the first time, saw her clearly. She paused, surprised to see me there, then smiled politely and nodded. Her face was lined with years of quiet labor, her eyes warm, yet tired. She didn't say much, just moved silently around the room, tending to her work like a ritual. Then, unexpectedly, she placed a small cup of tea on my desk. "You look tired, Beta," she said softly. That word, Beta, caught me off guard. It stirred something in me. My mother used to call me that, back before I was placed in foster care. But it couldn't be. I nodded, thanked her, and went back to my laptop, though I couldn't focus anymore. After that night, I began noticing her more. She always worked quietly, never intruded, but she'd leave thoughtful things behind, a mint on the desk when I had a cough, an umbrella leaning by the door on rainy mornings. She even straightened the framed photo of me as a child, something no one else in the office ever touched. It felt strange, like being cared for in silence. Familiar, even comforting. And though I didn't understand why yet, a part of me began to look forward to the nights I stayed late. Because she would be there. It was a cold Thursday night when I found it, a small, tattered notebook left near the trash bin outside my office. She must have dropped it while tidying up. I picked it up, meaning to return it the next morning, but curiosity got the better of me. The cover was faded, the pages yellowed at the edges. I flipped through, expecting grocery lists or cleaning schedules. But what I found stopped me in my tracks. Each page was filled with dated entries, reflections, and quiet thoughts written in neat, careful handwriting. "He looked tired today. I wish I could tell him how proud I am. His smile reminds me of when he was a baby. I remember the dimples." I stood outside the door for a minute longer than I should have. Just listening to his voice. And then, one line that made my chest tighten. "He's grown into a strong man. I see him every day, but I can't tell him yet. Not until I'm sure he's ready." She had written my name. There was no mistaking it. The dates aligned with key moments in my life, my promotion, my birthday, even the day I brought my late dog's photo to the office. My hands trembled as I flipped back through the pages. It was all there, 10 years of silent watching, quiet affection, and hidden love. The woman I barely noticed had been documenting my life like only a mother would. The next morning, I couldn't focus. My mind kept replaying the words in that notebook. When she walked in quietly with her cleaning cart, I stood up. She froze when she saw me holding the notebook. Her eyes widened, and in that instant, I saw something shift in her, fear, sadness, maybe hope. I read it, I said gently. Is it true? She didn't speak right away. Her hands gripped the cart, knuckles white. Then she nodded slowly, eyes filling with tears. Her voice trembled as she spoke. I gave you up when you were just a baby. I had nothing. No home, no job. I was sick. I thought, if someone else could give you a better life, maybe you'd survive. I never stopped loving you. I never stopped looking. Tears welled in my eyes. I remembered the photo on my desk. The one from the orphanage. I used to wonder why no one ever came back for me. But now I knew someone had, every single day for the last 10 years. I took this job just to be near you, she whispered. I thought, maybe seeing you grow from a distance would be enough. But it never was. In that quiet office, under cold fluorescent lights, I walked to her and pulled her into a hug. She broke down in my arms, and so did I. In that moment, nothing else mattered, not my job, not the years lost, only the mother I had finally found, and the love that had never left. Since that day, everything changed. Not in loud, dramatic ways, but in the quiet, meaningful ones that matter most. She no longer pushes a cart or mops floors. I made sure of that. Now, there's a second chair beside my desk. Hers. She still comes every morning, just like before, but instead of cleaning, she brings tea. We sit together for a few minutes before the office buzz begins. No uniforms, no silence between us anymore. Just stories, laughter, and sometimes, tears. My colleagues were surprised at first. They asked, "Who's the lovely woman with you?" I smiled and said, "That's my mom." The words felt both strange and perfect on my tongue. Some days, she brings old photos or tells me things about my childhood I never knew, how I hated carrots, how I used to laugh in my sleep. Other days, we sit in silence, just grateful for time we thought we'd lost. I once believed success was about corner offices and titles on a door. But I've learned that true success is measured by the people who love you when no one else is looking. For 10 years, she stood in the shadows, loving me silently, without ever asking for anything in return. And now, for the rest of my life, I'll spend every moment making sure she knows she was never just the cleaning lady. She was always my mother. And now, finally, I see her.